the filmmakers are faced with a clean slate.
The fact is that nobody wanted to take a chance that we were hurting the franchise, and the mutual decision on everybody's part was to make a change.
The question is, what type of change? Popular opinion suggests the next film needs to return to the tone and structure of Goldfinger, the first Bond movie to achieve blockbuster status. The filmmakers enlist veteran Bond writer Richard Maybaum to write the new script, and Goldfinger's director Guy Hamilton to direct.
I was asked to do Diamonds, and it was a real kick because I'd felt that I'd been away from it long enough to have varying viewpoints, and I think I'd like to push it a little bit more this way and that.
Like Fleming's novel, much of the action takes place in and around Las Vegas, but the script features a new villain, Goldfinger's twin brother. It is decided Maybaum's script needs a major overhaul. It is a time of social upheaval. Many suggest Bond's British clubland values are passé.
I'd say it was a 30-year-old fiend indifferently blended, sir, with an overdose of Bombois.
They believe 007 should become more American.
Adam West was on a publicity tour in London, and he did come to the house, and of course he was under contract playing Batman. I guess you might say that they had the conversation. He was considered.
The Americanization of Bond continues.
We went to the States, Guy and Cubby and I and Harry too, to test for new Bonds.
Cubby found this very good American actor by the name of John Gavin, and he was actually signed to play Bond.
John Gavin is best known for his role in Hitchcock's Psycho.
So it was decided to do the whole film in Hollywood.
We actually took stage space at Universal Studios, set up shop there.
Having dropped the idea of Goldfinger's twin brother as the villain, the filmmakers now search for a new angle. The solution comes to co-producer Cubby Broccoli in a dream.
One morning, he woke and he said, "I've had the most fabulous dream. It was about Howard Hughes." He said, "I thought I was outside the penthouse window, and he had his back to me. And I was knocking on the window, and I was saying, 'Sam.' That was the nickname that his close friends called him. 'Sam.' And when he turned around, it wasn't Howard Hughes at all. It was a total stranger." He said, "And that's what I've been looking for, this fellow who's kept captive in this penthouse, and everything below is still going on as though he exists."
A new writer is brought in to develop the idea.
I got a call from my agent saying, "How would you like to write a James Bond movie?" I thought he was joking. I mean, this monstrous joke. Cubby Broccoli was saying, "I need a writer to rewrite this script. I want him to be young. I'd like him to be American, but he has to have a command of the British idiom." He's a perfect writer for this because he writes larger than life and he writes with attitude. Well, I was like a kid in a candy store. I couldn't believe that I was there as the writer of a Bond movie.
And he and I got on like a house on fire immediately.
Before Mankiewicz finishes his draft, another big event happens. On February the 9th, 1971, Los Angeles is rocked by the magnitude 6.5 San Fernando earthquake.
Suddenly the whole building leaned 8 feet at that height, you see.
And that thing went like that, a-bum, ba-da-bum, 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 frightened the hell out of them. So they came running up to my house. I lived on Beaumont Drive in Beverly Hills, and they had to stay there because they were so shucking up.
Another shake-up follows when United Artists suggests a change of course.
United Artists were gung-ho to get Sean back, but Harry and Cubby felt they really didn't want to beg a reluctant actor to act.
I had a brilliant sketch artist who was working for me, Tom Wright. And if you look at his storyboards, I mean, it's always Sean in them.
And so there was a big conference in Cubby's house in Bev Hills, and David Picker, who was president of United Artists at that time, flew in from New York.
He said, "Sean, is going to cost you $2 million. That money you can recoup from Edie money."
There was a levy here called the Edie levy.
For every penny taken at the box office, something like a quarter of it, a farthing, was returned directly to the producers.
And so Sean isn't going to cost you anything. And so then it was decided to use Sean.
Procter and Saltzman asked me to come from Paris to London to talk to Sean, to give him the offer.
I had to take a week to make the decision myself, whether I would do it again.
And lo and behold, Sean said yes, he would come back.
Of course, the producers already have an actor signed to play James Bond.
If Sean had not come back, John Gavin was going to play him.
And they called and said, look, we've got Sean.
Gavin graciously departs from the picture, with Cubby Broccoli insisting that his contract be paid in full. He continues acting and from 1981 to 1986 serves as U.S. ambassador to Mexico. Sean Connery, meanwhile, negotiates a record sum for his return.
They had given him, I guess, a deal he couldn't refuse.
Desperate times call for desperate measures.
He got the unheard of sum of, I think, $1,200,000 for the film, which in 1970 was just extraordinary.
Sean gave all that money away, and it was $1.25 million.
He contributed his fee to Scottish Educational Trust Fund.
I started 3 years ago a trust in Scotland, Scottish International Education Trust.
Young Scottish artists, writers, painters, who could get the money if they stayed in Scotland.
With this, I could launch the trust with so much money that there could never be an excuse for it not succeeding.
United Artists offers additional inducements beyond the record-breaking salary.
He also got the right to make 2 films.
We made a 2-picture deal with Sean.
With also development money to prepare them during this period, which I'm doing now.
Ultimately, only 1 film is made under the arrangement, The Offense.
Details are not important. What's important is he did 1 more movie.
And once back, I must say, he was the real pro. Everything went wonderfully well.
With Connery back in the picture, the production shifts gears. It is no longer going to be an American Bond. Connery, meanwhile, turns his attention to the script.
I never met Sean until we were in Las Vegas about 2 weeks before, and I had the most wonderful meeting with him. He loved the script.
I think is probably the best one they've had, certainly construction-wise, for a beginning, a middle, and an end of a story. It's very good. It's a very good script.
Most of the notes he had were about other characters' dialogue or other characters' bits of business. It was the least self-centered script meeting I'd ever had with an actor, much less a star.
The other roles are soon filled. Jill St. John takes the part of jewel smuggler Tiffany Case.
The script was sent to me by Cubby Broccoli, and I loved it, and who would not want to be in a Bond film?
Charles Gray, who plays Henderson in You Only Live Twice.
Thank you.
I'm glad we got it right.
Takes on the role of Ernst Stavro Blofeld, the 3rd actor to play the part in as many films.
I liked him a lot, and I was trying to trade chess lessons for bridge lessons, and neither one of us ended up learning to do the other's game very well.
Lana Wood joins the cast on a recommendation from the film's writer.
Tom Mankiewicz, who is a dear friend of mine, said that he was doing this film, and he was speaking with Cubby Broccoli, and he said, I've got the perfect girl to play Plenty O'Toole.
Hi, I'm Plenty.
But of course you are.
As a teenager, I used to read all the Ian Fleming books, and I love that. That was sort of my fantasy.
Another pivotal role is filled with an offbeat choice, Jimmy Dean.
I was working at the Desert Inn, and Cubby Broccoli came in and saw me doing my regular act out there and said, that's the guy I want to play Willard White.
Jimmy Dean, the grand old Opry star.
I had the #1 record in England in 1961, a thing I wrote and recorded called Big Bad John.
Jimmy Dean, the sausage king.
Whatever melts your butter suits me.
Thank God for the sausage business.